Good morning. Welcome to Kirklees Local TV and the latest edition of the Weekly Wind-Up. The Weekly Wind-Up is here to bring you a digest of the weekly news and to be provocative, interesting, amusing and perhaps informative. Today I've got 3 guests and I'll be swapping one of my guests at half time. So I've actually got 4 guests altogether. I've got PCSO John Airy on my left and PCSO Morgan Cockcroft down at the far end, and in the middle, Station Commander, the Assistant District Officer of Operations, Lee Benson from the West Yorkshire Fire and Safety Authority.
Fire and Rescue Service.
Fire and Rescue Service. Well, it keeps changing its name to stay in front of the authorities. Now, you can always contact Kirklees Local TV on info@kirkleeslocaltv.com and search for us on Twitter at The Weekly Wind-Up. The reason why we've got you guys all here together today is because I gather you're all very musical. So we'll start off by talking to our PCSOs. And you've just recorded a song.
Yes, we have, yeah.
And I gather you've plagiarised it from a Disney cartoon called Frozen.
Correct, yeah.
Did they know this?
Absolutely. Disney's been fantastic. We've been in contact with them for months and months. It's taken a lot of effort to get there, but we've managed it, yeah. And I've assumed you've heard the song.
I've actually watched the programme. Interesting cartoon.
I suppose we're always looking for new and innovative ways of getting a message across to the public.
Which message?
Well, crime prevention, safety, right. And obviously to tell them that we're still here if they need us. And by using a popular song from Frozen, I think it's, as far as I know, everybody loves that song. Children, older people, and by using that song, I think it helps to get that message across. And
although John says here that Disney wasn't particularly unhappy about this, did you have any difficulty in the first instance to trying to get them on board?
A little bit, yes. But we sort of left that to
KLTV.
Yeah.
But when they saw what it was you were trying to achieve, I guess in the end they were actually very helpful.
Absolutely, yes. I mean, I think everybody's been very supportive.
Great.
In what they've seen.
Now, you've got some kids helping you out with this. Really important, the kids. Why did you choose Spring Grove School? It's
local to Huddersfield and it's not too far from the station. So we thought, we'll just pop in and see if they'll help us.
You don't like travelling too far then?
I don't think that's a fair question. I'll go as far as I need to go.
Okay. And did the kids enjoy it?
They loved it. They were totally on board. I think John had a bit more input there, but John taught them a bit of sign language.
Yeah.
Oh, go on, do a bit for us now.
The chorus, we taught the kids how to do it, and it was very simple. It was ready to go, and that was part of what we taught the children. It's using the hand sign language alphabet to do the tu, which we can do that at any point if you wish. But we did a bit of sign language because we wanted to make sure, along with the subtitles, that everybody could understand the song.
Do it again. Ready.
Tu.
Go. Right. Okay. Yes.
That's one of the main things, and the children really enjoyed doing that. We went into school mainly in our own time. We did the most of the work for this completely out of work's time, and it was really good. They really enjoyed learning.
Now, when you were talking with all these kids, school children, I suppose I should say, there's always one, isn't there, who's a little bit cheeky, a little bit naughty, and so on. Yeah.
I suppose, yeah, but they really enjoyed seeing us there.
Today, I'm that one.
No surprise there.
No, indeed not. Not. So, what are your future plans for Stardom?
I don't know about future plans for Stardom. We've enjoyed doing it. We've currently got over 11,600 hits on the song, and we were on a Good Morning TV programme this morning on ITV apparently. So that's gone.
You've not seen it yet?
No, not seen it yet. No.
Somebody recorded it for you?
Yes, apparently it's there to be watched. It's doing really well, and the whole point of it was it's a message to get out there, and we now know that over 11,000 people have seen it.
Now, Lee, I've kept you out of the conversation because this is their limelight a bit. But on a more serious note, I do need to ask is, we're halfway between the Christmas and New Year at this time, so we can now reflect on Christmas. Have people stayed safe over Christmas?
They have. It's been a fairly safe Christmas this year, relatively quiet for myself.
Right.
But we need to continue to do so into New Year and take on out messages that we've been trying to educate people with over the last 4 or 5 years.
Indeed, we have.
Yeah.
Now, would it be right in saying that because of the weather, you guys were able to stay home when all the sort of difficulties landed on your doorstep? Morgan, were you busy over Christmas?
Yes, I think Christmas is a busy time for the police. It's what we expect.
Not so much the crime, but the sliding of cars.
Not so much sliding of cars this year, not to my knowledge anyway.
Okay, that's good. Does that reflect on how well the roads have been gritted this year?
Yes, I have seen the gritters out.
Have you had been called out to many car accidents?
We do get loads this time of year. It's just part of the job. We accept that probably RTC car crashes, whether it be minor bumps or serious bumps, are really sort of prevalent this time of year.
Yeah.
However, crews have been trained to deal with them, and so far, touch wood, we've had no serious.
Well, we're talking a bit more about that in the second half of the programme. But do we actually have the statistics in yet as to whether crime was up or down over the festive or over Christmas?
I think overall crime, has come down, in the Kirklees area, particularly in the town centre, where we've had an operation running to sort of thwart shoplifters and pickpockets and whatnot.
Excellent. Now, there's been quite a success story in Kirklees over 2 or 3 years now with crime figures falling. Isn't that right?
Yes, that's right.
Is that down to you?
Well, I'd like to think maybe it's a team effort there,
that's
David. That's
good.
team effort always.
Yeah,
And I think what is important is that we do work with our partner agencies. We work with the fire service as well. And the crime figures have come down because of lots of various reasons, but a lot of operations have been put in place to specifically target issues. Because over the sort of Christmas festive period, we do get an increase usually in, for example, shoplifting, occasionally burglary, but overall our crime figures have come down.
Now, my understanding is that the local population, certainly at the older end, which is my end these days, is of the opinion that there aren't sufficient police on the streets, that the crime figures are awful, and that whenever you call a policeman, you never turn up. But on the other side, you've got Tim Kingsman telling me that the new methodology behind the compilation of crime statistics, using the computers to get all the information together, you can actually direct your operations into the specific areas where crime is potentially growing, so you can clamp it down. Would you like to tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, I think when it comes, just to answer in sort of sequence there, you mentioned about a perception of people that say they don't get the help. Well, when it comes to getting help, all calls are graded. And I say to everybody, when it comes to asking for an officer to come round, I think one of the things that you must understand is that if there's an emergency, for example, emergencies, we have to attend within 15 minutes. And we make sure that we get to emergencies as a priority. And then we have other calls as well. And whenever anybody calls, we always will deal with that issue. That's what we're there for. And it might, obviously, some people expect a quicker response, but we will always get there. So we do see and make sure we get feedback from people as well. I mean, actively we get feedback back from people, which has been steadily growing. Our satisfaction rates have been very constant.
Morgan, tell me, this business of reporting crime or suspected crime, that all adds into your statistical build-up, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yes. Yes, it does.
And from that, the message we've got to put out to the public is that it's important to report.
100%.
There's no point in sitting back saying, oh, we never see policemen anyway, so there's no point in reporting. That is absolutely and completely wrong. Get on the phone, get it reported.
Absolutely, because the more times you report an incident, no matter how big or small you think it is, it builds up an overall picture and allows us to put resources in that particular area to tackle that problem, and that's how it works. So please, yes, do ring.
And should you always try and get a crime number?
If it's a crime, yes.
Well, there's a, I don't know if it's a myth or if it's true, but I've heard it on the grapevine that if you don't get a crime number, it doesn't get reported or doesn't get built into the statistics.
Every time a member of the public calls the police, a log number is generated.
Right.
They might not be reporting a crime. They might be reporting, I don't know, antisocial behaviour, where there is no crime involved. But that still needs to be, that will still get taken on board by the local neighbourhood team and investigated. It doesn't necessarily have to be a crime.
So there you are, ladies and gentlemen. You can see that although police officers tend to take the business of policing extremely seriously, which it is, they can also have a load of fun singing a song and putting out a message with the kids from Spring Grove School. And I think all credit to you both for that. The other thing is that if you feel that it's important enough, a matter which is happening in your neighbourhood is important enough to report it to the police, pick up the phone, report it to the police, because it's based on that information which allows the police to get the statistics together so that they can investigate and hopefully resolve the problem that you're reporting. So the final message to the public on staying safe in 2015 is pick up the phone.
Pick up the phone.
Oh, very good.
And if you get the
I
chance,
like that.
get involved with your neighbourhood. We have various stages where you can go and you can get involved in your neighbourhoods. Join your neighbourhood watch. Get involved with the police. Look at our website. There's various ways to get in contact with the police. Ask for an officer to come round. Neighbourhood officers like me will come round and visit schools, churches, groups, any organised group at all, or just people who are concerned. We want you to be involved with us. That's the number one message. We want to help.
Thanks very much indeed. We'll take a break now. This is Kirklees Local TV's weekly wind-up. You can find Kirklees Local TV on info@kirkleeslocaltv.com, and you can search for us on Twitter @The Weekly Wind-Up. We're going to take a break. After the break, you'll find a slight change in the personnel on my left. And welcome back. This is the weekly wind-up at Kirklees Local TV. You can find us on info@kirkleeslocaltv.com and search for us on Twitter @The Weekly Wind-Up. So, we were talking in the first half to two PCSOs about their little song that they've done with the kids from Spring Grove School. Now, I understand, and I must welcome you, Inspector Tim Holland, who's come along to talk to us about Roger Davis and a song that they have been instrumental in creating called 1,000 Tears. No, it must be called 1,000 Tears.
1,000 Tears, yeah.
So, Tim, tell me about the background to this.
Well, Lee and myself were part of Kirklees Road Safety Partnership.
Right.
We came up with, we got around the table and we came up with various ideas. And one of the ideas was for the song, which, I mean, Lee's got some more details and he'll sort of go into the details about it.
Now, that's what I call in my part of the world, in my part of the business, that's called passing the buck. Very good. Lee?
We all tried to come up with about 2 or 3 ideas. And one of the ideas was by a colleague of mine, one of my assistants, Jimmy Fate, who was aware of a local singer, aware of the issues around road safety, and is involved quite closely with it through his role. And we tried to put them all together, and that's really one of the suggestions we went for. So we commissioned the local singer, a guy called Roger Davies, who went away, came up with these songs for us. I believe the song is actually a song that is reworded, and I think it was called 1,000 Years originally, but it's now been called 1,000 Tears,
Right.
and we built it in.
Very good. Now, I know Roger. He'll be surprised if he watches this, which he will, of course, just to hear me saying that I know him, but he's sung on a number of occasions down at the Keys restaurant. So he does really well. He's getting a really good reputation. Why 1,000 Tears?
I think really it's just about that, the after effects of an RTC, a sort of a road traffic collision, and recognising that it's not just one single incident that road traffic collision happens, but it's everything after, and all the people who are involved, and the real long-term effects, especially for those who have been involved, close family.
Now you call these road traffic collisions,
Yeah.
and I thought they were called road traffic accidents. Is there a difference between the two?
It changes over the years. I've heard various stories why.
I see. Go on,
I
tell us one.
I just really follow what I'm told to say, but we call them now road traffic collisions now.
Right.
I'm going to go back to my colleague.
Yeah, I knew that would come in later. Well,
I believe it.
Let's be honest. They're not accidents. Normally, somebody has done something which there's a causation.
Very good.
There's a causation
Very
behind
good.
it, isn't there?
Yeah, yeah.
So they're no longer they're not accidents.
So, tell me what the song or the video portrays.
It's to make people think about what happens and what happens to other people after they've been involved in an accident, you know, and because what we want is people to think about it. It's all right making them think about it now they see a bit of paper. It's not very impactful, but the idea about the song is it's a song that people will know. And we just want to get it into people's psyche and get to people before they make the conscious decision to go ahead and do something that will lead to an accident. And as it referred to earlier, it needs to be innovative nowadays. You know, we can't keep sticking leaflets through people's door because they won't respond to it.
I think one of the things we want to do with the song as well, we make it really personal. So the idea behind the song, where we filmed Kirklees, we've picked sort of main Kirklees sites. So we've used Castle Hill,
Iconic.
we've used Old Firth, real iconic sites, yeah. And then when we put these together,
Which site did you use down the Colne Valley then?
we've used the sites we've used on the video altogether. We've done a full area of Huddersfield, sort of full ring road,
Right.
up to Ormos.
Right.
We've done quite a lot around the Ravensthorpe area, Dewsbury. We're picking sites where, for ourselves, the areas where we have a lot of problems with RTCs.
So you didn't have any up the Colne Valley then?
I'm trying to think what we did down Colne. No, we didn't want much down Colne Valley. No.
Okay, so how many people are involved in the clear-up of a drink driving incident?
From a fire service point of view, this could be anywhere between probably 10 to 20 people, depending on the scale of it. A standard turnout call for a car crash, yeah, one person involved will be 2 pumps. At that point, when myself turns up, or the officer in charge of that first appliance, he'll make a snap decision as to how many people to be rescued and the resources required. Well, realistically, we need a fire appliance per car. Quite regular now, we can go out to calls which are 2, 3, 4 cars involved. Well, it doesn't take long to work out that that's 4 fire engines. Within Kirklees itself, I've got 10 fire appliances hopefully available at any time.
Yeah.
But if I'm turning 4 out to a car crash, that means suddenly I've lost nearly half my resources.
Yeah.
So for itself, it could be anywhere between 10 and 20 people. On top of that, with other agencies, police and ambulance.
And you can see from that that the cost starts to become quite extraordinary.
Yeah. I think it's only really important to recognise that, especially if you look at news at the moment, West Yorkshire Ambulance Service are struggling due to a number of calls and lots of other reasons. But our expectation is that for every 1 person injured, we would require an ambulance. Yeah, so that ambulance takes 1 person only in an ideal world. 2 or 3 people injured in a car is quite common. That's 3 ambulances, 2 fire engines so far, minimum.
Wow, that's a lot.
It is, yeah,
It's a lot.
it is.
Do you think the law should change, that we should go down to nil units?
From myself, it'll make it easy for fire service, but I'm not the law side, am I? I look at my colleague in here and
I think a nil limit would be very difficult, and it would trap people who maybe they've had a bit of trifle at tea time or something like, and that's not really what we're after. And the research says that sort of level doesn't affect people's driving, and it's got to be research based. You know, there has been changes in drink driving law in other places recently, but it needs to come down to that research, because otherwise people will be going to court just for the fact that they had some alcohol in the system. And it's really the effect it has on that person, because the limit is a limit. However, people can still be unfit to drive under that limit, and that is the point.
I think.
Morgan, I've not really been talking with you about this, so what would your message be to the general public about drink driving?
Well, simply don't do it. It's too big of a risk. It's that simple. Just don't do it.
I mean, the courts are quite heavy on drink drivers, aren't they?
From what I know, yes, but it is not my forte, unfortunately.
Okay, can you tell us about the drink driving From the police perspective then, Tim?
It's avoidable, and people make a conscious decision to get in a car and drive when they're drunk. If you don't leave your car at home and you're going for a drink, well, you're asking for trouble, quite frankly. And for me, every time a drunk driver's brought into custody, it's a serious offence, but it's a more serious offence and a bigger impact prevented from as far as I'm concerned.
And what are the stats for the local area on drink driving? Are we getting better or are we getting worse?
I don't have the actual stats to hand, but
or the trends?
Anecdotally, I'd say the trend is slightly down. So I think the message is getting across.
Okay, good. Well, that means that certainly the campaigns which are taking place are obviously having some effect, even if it's only sort of holding the line. The general message to the public is don't drink and drive, but that message should really be accentuated throughout the year. But I can see that it's easier to put that message over at times of public holidays. So if you suddenly came out with a don't drink and drive campaign in, shall we say, May, it wouldn't have the same impact as putting it down at the back end of December. And in fact, I think we should also collectively say thank you to Roger Davis for putting this song together, for helping you guys out to promote this very serious issue. So there we are, ladies and gentlemen. We've had another example of a very serious topic, drink driving, being taken into the public arena with a very popular local guy, Roger Davis, who's done this song, 1,000 Tears. And where we can have perhaps a bit of a reflection, maybe a bit of a smile, the topic still remains really serious because those 1,000 Tears reflect the people and the families, not only of the victims, but also of the perpetrators who have actually been deeply affected by road traffic collisions, deaths on the road over many years. And I go back to the late 1990s when I was the chair of the Road Safety Committee for the council. They don't have one anymore because they've now passed all that stuff over to you guys. And I know that we were working very closely with Brake, and we've not mentioned Brake as the organisation, which I gather has given you a lot of help on this as well.
Massively involved, yeah.
Good people, but of course they were all spawned out of a road traffic collision, sorry.
Thank you.
And I feel that it's important to keep pressing the message, because although the younger drivers do tend to take a greater degree of responsibility, there is also the opportunity for people to just slip one in and then go and drive, and that is not the message at all. It's drinking impairs driving ability and driving skills, and the results are difficult for everybody to see and extremely costly.
So yeah.
So there we are. Thank you very much to everybody who's come on today. Morgan Cockcroft down the far end. I'm sorry I've not sort of brought you in,
it's
but
okay.
you were able to talk about your song in the first half. To Lee Benson from the Fire Service, the West Yorkshire Fire and Rescue Authority.
West Yorkshire Fire and Rescue Service.
Well, there you go, whatever. Inspector Tim Holland, thanks very much. Don't
Please.
forget to give my message to
Freddie, will do.
Freddie, that's right. And indeed to John, who was with us the first time in the first half. Thank you very much. He's now sitting in the audience trying to heckle, but he's being kept gagged. This is the Weekly Wind-Up. You can contact the Weekly Wind-Up on info@kirkleeslocaltv.com and search for us on Twitter @The Weekly Wind-Up. Ladies and gentlemen, stay safe. A very happy new year. I hope 2015 will be really prosperous for you. Thank you.